Metal Gear Solid, shortened simply to MGS, is a 1998 action-adventure stealth game developed and published by Konami for the PlayStation, and serves as a sequel to the MSX2 games Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. It was directed, produced, and written by gaming developer/auteur Hideo Kojima, who is also famous for the creation of the video games Snatcher, Policenauts, Zone of the Enders, and most recently, Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima is famed for his particular style of video game presentation, which places heavy emphasis on cinematic storytelling told with very lengthy cutscenes with great attention to detail. Using inspiration from some of his favorite movies, and having a capacity to completely and utterly destroy the fourth wall, with the games themselves being filled with a large volume of secrets for players to discover, even years later. Metal Gear Solid is famously titled Tactical Espionage Action for its approach and emphasis to stealth being a core aspect of gameplay. While it is certainly possible to play the games all guns blazing, especially later on in the series, the style of combat in Metal Gear Solid highly encourages and rewards cautious tactical play, allowing the player to avoid enemy encounters altogether and to find hidden paths to sneak past enemies, find new equipment, and learn more about the motivation of characters as the story develops into a complex conspiracy in order to complete their mission. In Metal Gear Solid, the player must navigate the protagonist, Solid Snake, through a nuclear weapons facility on Shadow Moses Island that has been captured by next-generation special forces, Foxhound, Solid Snake's former unit, who have gone rogue, and in an act of terrorism have taken over the island and given a list of demands, or they shall launch a nuclear weapon. Disturbingly, the leader of this terrorist operation is called Liquid Snake. Solid Snake is sent to rescue two particular hostages and to ascertain whether the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike and stop them if they do. The gameplay of Metal Gear Solid is based around OSP, on-site procurement. Solid Snake infiltrates, carrying no weapons and only a pair of unmarked binoculars, and a pack of cigarettes he managed to smuggle into the operation from his stomach, much to the disdain of his support crew. This lack of offensive weaponry early on is used to emphasize the importance of avoiding enemy encounters altogether, until Snake obtains firepower from the enemy in Shadow Moses to even the odds. Snake can move around using the controls, and certain positioning can be taken advantage of to have cinematic views of the 3D environment and plan a cautious, stealthy approach and avoid encounters. Enemies, known as the Genome Soldiers, have an advanced AI that laid the foundations for enemy character behavior in games for years to come, being able to go along designated patrols, while also being smart enough to notice unusual things on patrol, such as hearing noises, seeing footsteps in the snow, and things such as cardboard boxes mysteriously moving on their own. When Snake moves into an enemy's field of vision, he sets off an alert mode that draws enemies to his location, where the player must then hide until evasion mode begins. When the counter reaches 0, the game returns to infiltration mode, where enemies are no longer suspicious. To make infiltration easier, the game has what is known as a Soliton radar, a map feature that gives enemy placements and hideable locations in real time, allowing the player to decide the best COA, course of action. To remain undetected, the player can perform techniques that make use of Snake's abilities and the environment itself, such as crawling under objects, ducking or hiding around walls, or more famously, being able to use a simple, modest cardboard box as a disguise. Snake can also make use of many items and gadgets to progress, with a heavy emphasis on stealth, to promote a less violent form of gameplay, as fights against large groups of enemies will often result in severe damage to Solid Snake, and possibly end in a game over screen that is legendary in gaming history as perhaps one of the most iconic game over screens of all time. Metal Gear Solid, despite the switch to 3D, is still played primarily from an overhead perspective, similar to the original 2D Metal Gear games on the MSX2. However, this time, the camera angle will change during certain situations, such as corner view when Snake flattens himself against a wall next to an open space, or into first-person view when crawling under tight spaces, or equipping certain items, such as the binoculars or a sniper rifle. The player can use the first-person view camera to look around Snake's surroundings and see what's ahead of him, and even use the binoculars to truly perform reconnaissance and plan the ideal COA. One of my favorite choice of tactics, marking enemies, realizing where the danger lies, and sneaking past it completely. As Solid Snake infiltrates Shadow Moses, the story and progress is punctuated by infamously long cutscenes and radio conversations, known as the codec. The codec conversations are done with very high-quality visuals and exceptional voice acting, which was extremely groundbreaking at the time. It truly was a cinematic gaming experience. You weren't just playing a game, you were having the experience of a movie, turned into a video game. This makes Metal Gear Solid truly a game that gave the feel of playing a movie and has ingrained itself as one of the most legendary and influential video games of all time. If you look back at 1998 and see how many games had a cinematic approach, Metal Gear Solid was something that absolutely shook the foundations of gaming history and showed the world what could be done through a video game. On the topic of playing a movie, while in combat or outside of it, Solid Snake can contact his support crew via codec for combat advice and learn more about the crew themselves, who are fleshed out characters in their own right, who can also respond in reaction to particular things the player chooses to make Solid Snake do. This can range from commenting on the equipment that Snake is using, fleshing out the information and explaining to you what the things are. It can also range from simple things as learning how to avoid surveillance cameras, but it also goes down to such detail. They will even comment on something as small and as minute as chastising Snake for hiding in a women's restroom. This level of detail is what makes Metal Gear Solid stand out. It really pays attention to the smallest of details. If the player does something, the game notices and acknowledges it, and it really makes it an immersive, fun, and entertaining experience. To progress the story of Metal Gear Solid, players will encounter boss characters, members of Special Operations Unit Foxhound. Snake must discover the weaknesses of each boss and defeat them. Play controls and strategies can be accessed via the codec. The codec is also used to provide exposition on the game's backstory, but it also is the source of comic relief, as the game is willing to break the fourth wall multiple times, to the point where the game will actually discipline you for not saving the game enough, and also a legendary boss battle that makes bountiful use of breaking the fourth wall and can only be defeated by something that you have to see to believe. In Metal Gear Solid, in addition to the main story, there is also a VR training mode in which the player can test out their sneaking skills in a series of artificially constructed environments. This was eventually repurposed into an entire game, which essentially functions, in modern terms, as a DLC called Metal Gear Solid VR Missions, or Metal Gear Solid Special Missions in Europe. Essentially, if you bought Metal Gear Solid VR/Special Missions, you had to have a copy of Metal Gear Solid. But, contained inside, while it seemed like it would be a generic idea, VR Missions, it allowed the Metal Gear Solid experience to be really challenging, with really punishing time trials, as well as goofy and fun and entertaining content to be found. Snake can take on UFOs, solve murder mysteries, and solve puzzles in really unorthodox ways. Perhaps if this video takes off, I will cover Metal Gear Solid Special/VR Missions one day, but we'll have to see how this video goes now, will we? In addition to the VR missions included in the main menu, Metal Gear Solid includes the means for you to learn more about the story of Metal Gear Solid before you even begin the mission. The first of this is called Previous Operations, which includes summarization and text explaining in less than 20 pages, individually, the plot of Metal Gear for the MSX2, the original adventure in which Solid Snake took on the forces of Outer Heaven, and a less than 20-page summary of the MSX2 game, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, in which Solid Snake took on the forces of Zanzibar land and faced the greatest soldier in history, Big Boss. This provides a very brief, optional way to learn about the backstory of Solid Snake and the events that would plague the history of the franchise as time went on. Even though they were MSX2 games, the plot of both of them is vital to the story. You can get by without it, but it really helps flesh out the story, understanding Solid Snake's previous adventures in Outer Heaven and Zanzibar. I will include both of these in timestamps for you to enjoy if you want to click on that part of the video individually. But if you watch this video naturally, they will play past to present, so you get the complete Metal Gear Solid ASMR experience. Either way, if you jump straight into the plot of Metal Gear Solid or want to check out events of the past, I'm happy to have you here. Now let's continue this documentary. In the development for Metal Gear Solid, the game director Hideo Kojima originally planned his third Metal Gear game in 1994 for the 3DO. Kojima was initially planning Metal Gear Solid while Policenauts was still in development, one of his other games. Conceptual artwork was created by Yoji Shinkawa. Of the character Solid Snake and Meryl Silverborough. And Yoji Shinkawa went on to do many projects alongside Kojima, including Metal Gear Solid, which ingrained his style so much in the mind of fans of art that one time famously, Yoji made artwork for a non-Kojima game, and some people mistakenly believed it was another Metal Gear Solid title. This really cool blend of ink blots and a very cool, yeah, that's the only way to put it. This art style of this inkblot style is iconic and just associated with Metal Gear. I can't picture Metal Gear without Yoji's influence on the artwork. Thank you, Yoji, for the great artwork over the years. An interesting fact, the character of Meryl Silverborough was also a character in the adventure game Policenauts, and the Foxhound team, who serve as antagonists in Metal Gear Solid, were included in a Policenauts pilot disc preceding the release of the full version of the 3DO game in 1995. Metal Gear Solid was titled Metal Gear Solid rather than Metal Gear Free, as Hideo Kojima felt that the previous MSX2 games that he worked on were not very widely known, due to the fact they were not released in North America, and only the first one was released in Europe. An NES version of the first Metal Gear was released in North America, but Kojima had no involvement with it, or its sequel, Snake's Revenge, which is widely considered to be non-canon. The word Solid in Metal Gear Solid derived from the codename of the series protagonist, Solid Snake, as well as the title of the second MSX2 game, was chosen not only to represent the fact it was the third entry of the series, but also the transition from 2D to 3D computer graphics. Considering first-person games difficult to control, the team opted to give the gameplay a 2D style by having it predominantly played from an overhead angle, while using 3D graphics and the ability to switch to first-person on the fly to make it feel as though the game were taking place in the real 3D world. Development for Metal Gear Solid began in 1995, but was briefly halted due to the unfortunate Great Hanshin earthquake, which caused major damage to the development team's studio. When development of MGS resumed, it was moved over to the PlayStation platform. Developers aimed for accuracy and realism while making the game enjoyable and tense. In the early stages of development, the Huntington Beach SWAT team educated the creators with a demonstration of vehicles, weapons, and explosives. Sounds fun. Weapons expert Motosada Mori was also tapped as a technical advisor in the research, which included visits to Fort Irwin and firing sessions at Stembridge Gun Rentals. Talk about a fun day out at work. Hideo Kojima stated, "If the player isn't tricked into believing that the world is real, then there's no point making the game." To fulfill this, adjustments were made to every detail, right down to desks being individually designed. The characters and mecha designs of Metal Gear Solid were made by artist Yoji Shinkawa, based on Kojima's concepts. When designing props and hardware, he first built plastic models at home, and then drew the final designs from the models. According to Shinkawa, Solid Snake's physique in this particular installment was based on the Belgian martial arts legend, Jean-Claude Van Damme, while his facial appearance, believe it or not, was based on Christopher Walken. "Colonel, hey, I'm Christopher Walken here." Konami had decided that the middle-aged appearance of Snake in the previous games did not have a good commercial appeal, and opted to redesign him so he would look younger. The characters of the game were completed by polygonal artists using brush drawings and clay models by Yoji Shinkawa. And amusingly, given the cinematic and dark and gritty feel of Metal Gear Solid, believe it or not, Hideo Kojima used Lego building bricks and toy figurines to model 3D areas and see what the planned camera views would look like. This atmospheric, dark, cinematic game was blueprinted with Lego Metal Gear Solid was developed by a staff of only 20 people, a very small team for such a major title. But Kojima preferred to have a smaller team so that he got to know everyone in the team and what they were working on, and he could know right away if anyone was sick or unhappy. The team size did not expand to full strength until September 1996. Initially, and unbelievably, at one point there was only a single programmer working on the game's code. Because the developers wanted the game's action to be stylized and movie-like rather than realistic, they opted not to use motion capture, instead having an artist with experience in anime design the animations by hand. A gameplay demo of Metal Gear Solid was first revealed to the public at the 1996 Tokyo Game Show and was later shown at E3 1997 as a short video. The demo generated significant buzz and positive reviews at the event for its game design emphasizing stealth and strategy like earlier Metal Gear games, its presentation, and the unprecedented level of real-time 3D graphical detail for the PlayStation. The enthusiastic response to the game at E3 took Hideo Kojima completely by surprise. When Metal Gear Solid was finally released, the scale of the game required 2 discs, as opposed to 1, very similar to that of titles such as Final Fantasy, which required 4 because of the sheer scale of the game and the number of data required to show you the full adventure. Metal Gear Solid 1 contained Disc 1, 2, and also included in the box for Metal Gear Solid was Disc 1, Disc 2, a manual, and then, to fill up the gap of the game case, there was a demo disc included for another Konami title. This innocent-looking little demo disc was a fun bonus, but inside was the yet unreleased Konami title of a game known as Silent Hill, a game which entered people's nightmares and became a franchise in its own right, with its violent and graphic story and imagery. A horror game was included with Metal Gear Solid. Perhaps those nightmares of Silent Hill will be appearing on this channel in the future. Who knows? And finally, when it came to voice acting for the game, the voice acting was done with a very high quality and standard. To the point, this was some of the best, if not the very best, voice acting ever produced for a video game at the time. Although funny enough, in the credits for Metal Gear Solid, every single voice actor, except the voice actor for Solid Snake himself, David Hayter, were all credited with pseudonyms, fake names. Reportedly, this was done because the Screen Actors Guild's rules at the time were rather unclear regarding performances for video games. It wasn't really made sure if it was treated with as much importance as acting in theater or in a movie screen, so they used fake names just in case. When Metal Gear Solid was eventually remade for the Nintendo GameCube under the title Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, all of these voice actors were credited with their real names. So in Metal Gear Solid, the only voice actor that uses their true name is Solid Snake himself, David Hayter. Special shout out to David Hayter. Thank you for the memories and your legendary performance as Solid Snake. And on a final note, I would highly appreciate it, but there's no pressure, only if you'd like to please check out my channel, Alakazam ASMR. I provide a variety of content that is continuing to evolve and expand. I cover entire game playthroughs from franchises besides Metal Gear Solid. as well as diving into characters with roleplay videos of many different franchises as well. I like to jump between dimensions and play around with a bit of everything, and I hope you enjoy. Either way, if you're just in this video for this video, or you're in for the long haul and many great adventures with myself, I am humbled by your company, and I'm deeply grateful to every single one of you, whether you're subscribed or not. Now, all you gotta do now is sit back and relax, as we are about to dive into the story of the legendary, groundbreaking tactical espionage adventure, and with a final bit of healthy life advice from Solid Snake himself.
Colonel, people should be watching Alakazam ASMR. They should also be equipping a cardboard box right now, watching Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Now, everyone sit back. Take it easy.
And so, our story begins. Solid Snake, the legendary soldier who foiled Big Boss, the greatest soldier in history, not once, but twice, from trying to create a world of eternal warfare by means of using a nuclear-equipped walking battle tank known as Metal Gear. Solid Snake, after defeating the forces of Outer Heaven and the Zanzibar land uprising, retires quietly to Alaska with 50 Huskies, hoping to drink away the shadows of his traumatic past. Not long into his retirement, Solid Snake is snatched away and taken to the Discovery, an underwater vessel, by his old friend Roy Campbell, his former commander at Foxhound. Roy Campbell informs Solid Snake that there has been a terrorist incident at Shadow Moses Island. Elite members of Special Forces Unit Foxhound have rebelled and have hijacked a nuclear weapon, demanding the remains of Big Boss, who Snake took on in Zanzibar land. And if they do not receive the demands in time, they will launch a nuclear weapon. Solid Snake is given two objectives. The first is to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker, who are both being held as hostages. And second, Solid Snake is to ascertain whether the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike and stop them if they do. As Solid Snake is briefed on his two objectives, he discovers the name of the leader of the terrorist rebellion: Liquid Snake. Discovering for the first time that he might have a twin brother, Solid Snake sets out to save the world from nuclear annihilation and uncover a deep and vast conspiracy that could shape the future of mankind and bring the world itself as we know it to an end. This video is a video created with the purpose of evoking ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and also serves as entertainment and relaxation. So, whether you want to watch some nostalgic gameplay, have some relaxed cozy vibes, or dive into a deep and mature story with Solid Snake, either way, I'm happy to have you here. So sit back and relax. After this very long opening documentary, it's time to get things started. Let's go save the world with legendary soldier Solid Snake. Sit back and relax. Myself
And Snake.
I am Alakazam ASMR.
And I'm Snake. Solid Snake.
Together, we will save the world from nuclear annihilation. In Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Kept you waiting, huh? Let's do this. Let us master the system. Please enjoy, my friends, as we begin tactical espionage action in Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Please enjoy, my friends.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by next-generation special forces, being led by members of Foxhound. They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike and stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim. High-tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
The man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
And welcome, my friends, to the legendary tactical espionage action adventure Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Metal Gear Solid is a legendary title that innovated the concept of stealth in video games, alongside cinematic storytelling. Before we begin the main game, Metal Gear Solid already provides you with many things to interact with. So please sit back and relax, my friends, as this is going to be a very long adventure. We could start from new game or load game, but we have many things to open up first. We are going to go through a VR training section to show you the practical aspects of the game, as well as a briefing section which will explain the plot of the current Shadow Moses incident. But for this section of the video in its natural progression, we will be going into Special. In Special, something special indeed lies within. So sit back and relax as we begin Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Please enjoy, my friends. Kept you waiting, huh? In Special, we have Previous Operations. In Previous Operations, this will be a brief overview of the plot of Solid Snake's previous adventures on the MSX2, Metal Gear, and Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake. This will give you the backstory of everything that has led up to the Shadow Moses incident. So please relax, as first of all, I will narrate the plot of Metal Gear for the MSX2, the adventure that started it all. The year 1995, deep in South Africa, 200 kilometers north of Gaulle, Outer Heaven, an armed fortress nation established by the legendary mercenary. He was feared in combat by both his friends and foes, as a hero and a lunatic. The Western nations have found out that a weapon of mass destruction capable of rewriting war history is under development at Outer Heaven. They have called upon the high-tech Special Force Unit Foxhound to take care of the situation. In response to this order, Big Boss, Commander-in-Chief of Foxhound, sent Grey Fox, the man with codename Fox, which is given to the best member of the unit. Operation Intrude, N313. After a few days, his last message being Metal Gear, Grey Fox was missing in action. Taking the situation seriously, the top men of the West again called for Foxhound. Big Boss selected Solid Snake, who has just recently joined Foxhound, as the agent and entrusted everything to him. Successfully making a solo infiltration to Outer Heaven, Snake got in touch with local resistance members Schneider, Diane, and Jennifer. With their cooperation, Snake succeeded in rescuing Grey Fox. Grey Fox then laid out the terrifying facts about Metal Gear. Metal Gear was the development name of a nuclear, warhead-equipped two-legged walking tank. It can walk through even the roughest terrains that would stop normal tanks. It can conduct local warfare by itself, with unique weapons like its Vulcan cannon and anti-tank missiles. It was indeed a new type of weapon that can conduct a nuclear attack against any place on the face of the Earth, from any land surface. With Metal Gear, Outer Heaven was trying to establish its military superiority over the entire world. In order to destroy Metal Gear, Snake rescued Metal Gear's chief engineer, Dr. Petrovich, and his daughter Ellen, who is taken hostage to force her father to continue with his development. Snake hears from Dr. Petrovich how to destroy Metal Gear. However, as Snake approached the heart of Outer Heaven in Metal Gear, well-designed traps are set all around Snake, as if all his actions are being leaked to the enemy. In the midst of the escalating battle, the leader of the resistance, Schneider, fell into the hands of the enemy, and Snake himself was injured through the deadly battles with Outer Heaven's best mercenaries. But Solid Snake's indomitable spirit led him to the 100th floor basement of the secret base where Metal Gear was developed. Evading the powerful defense system that wipes out all intruders, Snake ultimately succeeded in destroying Metal Gear. Snake tried to escape from Outer Heaven upon completing the mission. However, during the escape, he was confronted by one man, Foxhound Commander-in-Chief, Big Boss. Big Boss laughed at the astounded Snake and told him about the truth of his mission. While serving as the Commander-in-Chief of Foxhound, Big Boss also ran a mercenary dispatch company utilizing his connections and capital from his years as a mercenary. He was planning to build this company a larger military establishment, and he built Outer Heaven as its base. His purpose for sending the rookie Solid Snake to Outer Heaven was to cause information confusion against the West. However, Big Boss miscalculated. He never thought that Snake would make it this far. Having lost Metal Gear, Big Boss activated the self-destruction system of the underground base. While the countdown to destruction continued, his scream echoed in the emptiness.
You've gone too far. Too far.
On the 100th floor basement, the battle between two men commenced, free of ideology and politics. Solid Snake, the rookie Foxhound agent, versus Big Boss. The armed fortress nation, Outer Heaven, collapsed. The impenetrable fortress made from the best military technology and occupied by the toughest mercenaries in the world, burned in flames. Behind him, the flames reached skyward as Outer Heaven fell, leaving Solid Snake all alone. This concludes the story for Metal Gear for the MSX2 in a brief summary, explaining the origins of Solid Snake and his first adventure, taking down the forces of Outer Heaven. Next, in the previous operations section, we are going to go into the plot of its sequel, Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake for the MSX2. This is where the gameplay and the story heavily advanced from its predecessor, and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, their plot is paramount to the story of Metal Gear Solid. So please sit back and relax, and I will explain to you the summarization in previous operations of the plot of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Please enjoy, my friends. Let's go. 1999. The world was facing an energy crisis. It was obvious that the supply of petroleum would run out faster than expected. However, the development of an alternate energy resource is far from completion. The price of petroleum has skyrocketed, and the world economy is in confusion. The 21st century was expected to be one of chaos. Predicting the future much, Kojima? One man's invention changed the entire situation. A Czech scientist and biologist, Dr. Kio Marv, invented Oilix, a microorganism that refines petroleum to produce a highly purified form of petroleum. The world was filled with hope upon the discovery of this messiah to solve the energy crisis. But at the same time, the world entered a time of tension regarding this new algae. Just when the whole world's attention was drawn to Oilix and Dr. Marv, he was abducted by someone and disappeared. Nations began investigations immediately, and a name soon appeared: Zanzibar Land. Zanzibar Land was a democratic military regime that suddenly appeared in Central Asia in 1997. When their uprising took place, the CIS army formed around Russia sent a suppressive unit immediately. Zanzibar land resisted by gathering a band of mercenaries from nations around the world and fortifying most of its land. As a result, the CIS army was repeatedly defeated, and Zanzibar land declared its independence. Due to the active role mercenaries played, this war was called the Mercenary War. And Zanzibar land was referred to as an armed fortress nation. A military nation with a group of strong mercenaries surrounded by a tough fortress. According to the latest information, Zanzibar supposedly was armed with nuclear weapons. The whole scenario was crystal clear. By obtaining oilics in addition to nuclear weapons, Zanzibar land was trying to establish its economic and military superiority over the entire world. Concerned about the situation, the United States ordered Roy Campbell, Commander-in-Chief of High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound, to rescue Dr. Keo Marv. Roy Campbell was a former member of Foxhound. He brought back the legendary Solid Snake, the man who single-handedly brought down the armed fortress nation of Outer Heaven 4 years ago. Asked Snake to bring back both Dr. Marv and oilics. Successfully infiltrating Zanzibar land, and with the help of CIA agent Holly and others, Snake was able to go deep into the fortress and meet again with Dr. Petrovich Madnar, the chief engineer of Metal Gear at Outer Heaven. He too was abducted to Zanzibar land and was forced to develop another Metal Gear, just like 4 years ago. He told the surprised Snake of an even more disturbing and shocking fact. Big Boss, the man Snake had defeated at Outer Heaven, turned out to be the general commander of Zanzibar land. Snake rescued Dr. Petrovich Madnar in cooperation with Nastasha, Dr. Keo Marv's guard, and former Czech International Secret Police agent, and then headed for the confinement facility deep in the fortress to save Dr. Marv. When Petrovich and Nastasha crossed the narrow suspension bridge over the deep valley, a missile blew the bridge away. Nastasha flew into the air because of the explosion. While unable to do anything to save Nastasha, Snake started hearing a well-known voice. "Hey, Snake. We are good buddies. I can let you go. Just leave this place at once." Gray Fox. Snake saw Gray Fox controlling Metal Gear, the best soldier in Foxhound, who after the fall of Outer Heaven, disappeared as if he followed Big Boss, losing Nastasha in front of his eyes and letting Petrovich get taken away. Snake screamed, "Fox, I will not give up." After a series of deadly battles with mercenaries, Snake finally made it to Dr. Keo Marv's confinement facility. However, he arrived too late. He saw Dr. Marv's corpse and Petrovich, who could do nothing but just stand there. Petrovich told Snake that Dr. Marv could not withstand the repeated tortures because of heart problems. Snake then received an emergency call from Holly. The information that she supplied was very shocking. Petrovich Madnar had been voluntarily visiting Zanzibar land to develop Metal Gear. The abduction of Dr. Marv was conducted under the directions of Petrovich himself. After the truth came out, Petrovich attacked Snake, but Snake easily put an end to him and obtained the structural plan of oilics. While trying to escape, Snake was confronted by Metal Gear again, controlled by Gray Fox. The tremendous battle took place in the underground base. Snake finally succeeded in destroying Metal Gear. However, Gray Fox did not submit and challenged Snake to the final battle. In the midst of a minefield, Snake and Fox fought without any weapons. A fist-to-fist duel involving no hatred or murder intent. During that weird moment of purity, The two were bound by forces transcending words and emotion. Snake won the tough but pure battle against Grey Fox. However, there was still someone else Snake had to fight. Big Boss. Just like 4 years ago at Outer Heaven, Big Boss was waiting for Snake.
One who has experienced the tension of battle can never leave the battlefield. I am the one giving you something to live for, and that is war.
Snake was infuriated at the arrogant Big Boss.
There's only one battle I need to fight. To free myself from you. To shatter the nightmare. Big Boss, I will kill you.
With the structural plan of Oilix, Snake and Holly escaped from Zanzibar land on a rescue helicopter. Snake once again saved the world. However, there was no smile on his face. Big Boss's last words kept ringing in Snake's head.
Whoever wins, our battle does not end. The loser is freed from the battlefield, but the winner must remain there, and the survivor must live his life as a warrior until he dies.
Snake then disappeared into the white lands of Alaska, alone. This concludes the plot summary of Metal Gear 2: Solid Snake, and concludes both of Solid Snake's previous adventures. And thus concludes the previous operations section of Metal Gear Solid ASMR. The plot summary is as follows. Solid Snake, only a rookie agent of Foxhound at the time, destroys Metal Gear, a nuclear-equipped walking battle tank, rescues Grey Fox, and defeats his commander-in-chief Big Boss, the greatest soldier in the world. However, things are different. After 4 years, Big Boss returns, trying to create an armed fortress nation known as Zanzibar land. This time, Grey Fox and Solid Snake are enemies. After a pure moment of clarity, they fight, free of hatred and murder intent, and destroy Metal Gear. But Big Boss is still alive, wishing to create a world of eternal war to give soldiers a purpose to exist in the world. Solid Snake swears to kill Big Boss. After a confrontation between the legendary Solid Snake and Big Boss, Solid Snake leaves the ruins of Zanzibar land by rescue helicopter. With the words of Big Boss still in his mind, is this all Solid Snake has to offer the world? Can all he do is prevent the inevitable? Or can he stop madmen like Big Boss, trying to create a world of warfare that will never end? We're going to find out how these past events of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake shaped Solid Snake into one of the most legendary protagonists in gaming history. Solid Snake, despite saving the world twice, has been through a lot, and has retreated to Alaska for an early retirement. Now, after clearing the previous operations section, we are now going to approach the briefing section of the video, which will give you a literal briefing on the current Shadow Moses incident. Solid Snake's been dragged out of retirement for one last mission. But why? We need to find out. So in the main menu section of Metal Gear Solid ASMR, we are now going to enter the briefing section. You may listen to this or skip it. Either way, this is to give you the most cohesive storyline and entertaining ASMR Metal Gear Solid tactical espionage action experience. And now that we are on this section of the video, we have gone into Solid Snake's legendary past, overthrowing the uprising of Outer Heaven and foiling the efforts of Big Boss to create Zanzibar land, a mercenary armed fortress nation, and stopping the global threat that is Metal Gear once again. Now, we're going to go into the current incident that has dragged Solid Snake out of retirement, the Shadow Moses incident. Like many military operations, we need to be briefed on what this mission will entail. So sit back and relax as we begin Metal Gear Solid ASMR with a briefing section that will explain the entire incident. Let's go. And then we will follow up with VR training to show you the practical aspects of the game. Let's get briefed on the current Shadow Moses incident.
It's been a long time, Snake.
I should have known you were behind this, Colonel.
That's no way to greet an old war buddy, Snake.
What do you want from me?
I just invited you here so we could have a talk.
Invited? That's what you call sending armed soldiers after me?
Sorry if they were a little rough with you. But we've got a serious situation here. Only you can get us out of it.
I'm retired from Foxhound. You're not my commander anymore, and I don't have to take orders from you or anyone else.
You will take these orders. I know it.
Excuse me.
Who's this?
Dr. Naomi Hunter. She's chief of Foxhound's medical staff, and an expert in gene therapy.
Are you military?
No, civilian. I've been sent here from ATGC. Pleasure to meet you, Snake. Don't worry, this injection won't hurt a bit.
What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
Snake, listen up. It all went down 5 hours ago. Heavily armed soldiers occupied Shadow Moses Island, a remote island off the coast of Alaska.
What soldiers?
Next Generation Special Forces, led by members of Unit Foxhound. They've presented Washington with a single demand, and they say that if it isn't met, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
A nuclear weapon?
I'm afraid so. You see, the island is the site of a secret nuclear weapons disposal facility.
Foxhound hijacking a nuclear weapon?
Now you understand how serious the situation is. You'll have 2 mission objectives. First, you're to rescue the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, and the president of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker. They're both being held as hostages.
Those are some heavy-duty hostages.
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike, and stop them if they do. Any questions, Snake?
Questions? I haven't even said whether I'd accept this mission.
Well, you can make up your mind after you hear more about the situation.
And that's how we find ourselves here, in the briefing file of the Shadow Moses incident. We have the operation outline, how we're going to infiltrate Shadow Moses. Solid Snake dragged out of retirement to stop no greater threat than a nuclear weapon that threatens the safety of the entire world. But who's in charge of this? Snake's old friend, Colonel Roy Campbell. Let's learn about it.
Colonel, who are you speaking for?
Naturally, I'm representing the U.S. government.
So who's in supervisory control of this operation?
The President of the United States.
Which means that the President must be meeting with his top aides in the map room about now, huh?
No, at this point they're still video conferencing with each other.
If that's a real nuclear warhead, shouldn't they issue a COG?
Not yet. The Secretary of Defense has operational control and is fully aware of the situation. After you infiltrate, if you determine they possess nuclear launch capabilities, a COG will be issued.
Well, if they haven't relocated to the nuclear shelter under Mount Washington, I suppose there isn't that much reason to worry yet. Is the National Security Agency in on this?
Yes. So is the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
They'll be sending us some support.
We don't need desk jockeys. We need a nuclear weapons specialist.
Of course. A nuclear weapons specialist has already been assigned to us.
So a COG hasn't been issued, a continuity of government, which is a government's plan to maintain its functions during a crisis. So Roy Campbell is the person in charge of this operation directly. Let's learn about our crew.
We need backup from a specialist. I'm just an amateur when it comes to nuclear weapons.
I know. That's why I've requested the assistance of a military analyst named Nastasha Romanenko. She'll be providing you backup by codec.
A female analyst?
She's built up an impressive record as an advisor for the Nuclear Emergency Search Team. Contact her if you have any questions. She's also an expert on high-tech weapons.
Where's she working from?
At her home in Los Angeles.
California. Seems like 1,000,000 miles away.
So besides Roy Campbell, we have Nastasha Romanenko, an expert on nuclear terminology and high-tech weapons. She'll be useful as part of our support crew, even helping from her home in California. Now let's learn more about Snake's old war buddy, Roy Campbell.
Colonel, you're retired. Why are you involved in this?
Because there aren't many people who know Foxhound as well as I do.
Is that really the only reason?
I've been soldiering for a long time. I don't know anything else. I guess even though I'm getting a little old, I still love to be in the field.
Colonel, you're a lousy liar. Tell me the real reason.
Okay, Snake. Sorry. I'll be frank. A person very dear to me is being held hostage.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
So the Colonel has a personal stake in the Shadow Moses incident. His niece, Meryl, is one of the hostages, besides Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Who is Meryl exactly besides the Colonel's niece? Let's learn about the dynamic between the two, if there even is one.
What was your niece doing here?
Several soldiers were reported missing the day of the revolt. And my niece was one of those called in as an emergency replacement.
She looks like you.
She's my little brother's girl. He died in the Gulf War, and since then I've been watching after her.
A personal motive, Colonel. That's not very soldierly.
I'm retired. I'm just an old man now. And I'm your friend.
Since when are we friends?
I've thought of us as friends since the fall of Zanzibar.
With my personality, I don't have too many friends.
That's what I trust about you. It's what makes you human. Please, Snake. Save my niece, Meryl.
All right. But I have two conditions.
Name them.
1, no more secrets between us. I want complete disclosure at all times. And 2, I'll only accept orders directly from you, Colonel. No cutoffs involved, okay?
Agreed. That's why I was called. But one thing.
What?
I'm not a colonel anymore. Just a retired old warhorse.
I understand, Colonel.
Solid Snake and Roy Campbell, the Colonel. Snake claims they're not friends, but they totally are. So besides rescuing the DARPA chief and Kenneth Baker, we now need to save Meryl, the Colonel's niece. I mean, Snake and the Colonel aren't exactly friends, but they totally are. Let's learn about this doctor that gave Snake an injection, called Dr. Naomi Hunter. Let's hear how she will support the operation. We got quite a crew assembled here. Let's see if we can use them together to conquer Shadow Moses Island.
That doctor, is she part of this operation too?
She was in charge of Foxhound's gene therapy. She knows more about those men than anyone else.
You mean you've seen them naked?
Make no mistake, I'm not a nurse. I'm a scientist.
By the way, what was that injection for?
It's a combination of nanomachines and an anti-freezing peptide so that your blood and other bodily fluids don't freeze, even at subarctic temperatures.
Nanomachines?
Not just one kind, either. There are different types which will replenish the supply of adrenaline, nutrition, and sugar in your bloodstream.
Now I don't have to worry about food.
I also put some nootropics in there.
Say what?
Nootropics. A class of drugs which will help improve your mental functioning.
It'll make me smarter, huh? Anything else?
Yes. Benzedrine. It's a type of stimulant. It'll keep you alert and responsive for 12 straight hours.
That was quite a cocktail. Anything else in there?
Those nanomachines will also keep your Codex batteries charged up.
I guess I can call you when I'm ready to go on a diet.
You're welcome.
That was quite the injection. I mean, nootropics are definitely useful. I use those myself. They help me with heavy ADHD symptoms. But still, that injection had quite a lot inside of it. It's almost too good to be true. But still, Solid Snake's going into this operation alone. This is par for the course for Metal Gear. Snake is a one-man infiltration squad. He's going to be sent in with no weapons, so the only thing we can equip so far is information. Let's learn about the hostages.
The chief of DARPA and the president of an arms manufacturing company. What business did they have at a nuclear weapons disposal facility?
The truth is that secret exercises were being conducted at the time the terrorist group attacked.
Must be extremely important exercises if those two were directly involved. Were they testing some kind of new advanced weapon?
I'm not privy to that information.
Do we know exactly where they're being held?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini-transmitter. As you get closer, you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
So the DARPA chief and the head of an arms manufacturing company. Donald Anderson and Kenneth Baker are the hostages. But we learn they have nanomachines, meaning we can pick them up on our radar. We'll find out how that comes into gameplay later on. Let's learn about the terrorist threat itself of nuclear weapons.
Do they really have the ability to launch a nuclear missile?
They say they do. They even gave us the serial number of the warhead they plan to use.
Was the number confirmed?
I'm afraid so. At the very least, they've got their hands on a real nuclear warhead.
Isn't there some kind of safety device to prevent this type of terrorism?
Yes. Every missile and warhead in our arsenal is equipped with a PAL, which uses a discrete detonation code.
PAL?
Permissive Action Link. The safety control system built into all nuclear weapons systems. But even so, we can't rest easy.
Why not?
Because the DARPA chief knows the detonation code.
But even if they have a nuclear warhead, it must have been removed from its missile. All the missiles on these disposal sites are supposed to be dismantled. It's not that easy to get your hands on an ICBM.
That used to be true. But since the end of the Cold War, you can get anything if you have enough money and the right connections.
So nothing's really changed even in the modern day. Money and the right connections can get you anything. Even a weapon capable of complete global destruction. And the DARPA chief knows the detonation code for the nuclear weapon. This is why they need to be rescued. Donald Anderson and Kenneth Baker know the code for the warhead. Let's learn about the terrorist armament.
How well armed are these terrorists? I know there was an exercise going on at the time they revolted.
They're heavily armed, I'm afraid.
What about their battle experience?
The 6 members of Foxhound in charge are all hardened veterans. They're tough enough to eat nails than ask for seconds.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Foxhound.
The others are next-generation special forces. They're not your average grunts either.
Next Generation Special Forces. They sound formidable. But what do they want? Let's learn about the terrorists' demand. After all, it's a fearsome foe we're facing.
So what exactly are they demanding?
A person's remains.
Remains?
That's right. To be more accurate, cell specimens which contain the individual's genomic information.
Cell specimens? Why would they want that?
The terrorists need them. You see, these next-generation special forces have been strengthened through gene therapy.
Strengthened?
You've heard of the Human Genome Project. They've been mapping the human genome, and they're nearly finished. Following up on this research, the military has been working towards identifying those genes which are responsible for making effective soldiers.
There are genes that do that?
Yes. And using gene therapy, they're able to transplant those genes into regular soldiers.
Gene therapy?
I'll explain this part. With gene therapy, we can remove those genes which we know may lead to sickness or disease, and at the same time splice in genes with beneficial effects, such as resistance to cancer, for example.
In other words, we can overcome all sorts of genetic diseases, and at the same time add genetic characteristics as desired.
Okay. And so if you knew what genes were responsible for making the perfect soldier, you could implant them in the same way, right?
Yes, we could.
But it all depends on being able to isolate and identify those soldier genes.
And in order to do that, it's helpful if you can study the genomic information of one of the greatest soldiers ever.
You don't mean Big Boss. So the terrorists are demanding the remains of Big Boss, the greatest soldier of the 21st century. It's all starting to make sense now. Genetic strengthening, using the blueprint of the greatest soldier. Now you can see why this is such a threat to the world. An army formed from the genetic information of the greatest soldier in history. They have to be stopped.
One of the greatest soldiers ever?
The man they call the greatest warrior of the 20th century.
You don't mean Big Boss.
That's right. We've been working feverishly to identify the genes responsible for his incredible combat skill. So far, we've discovered about 60 of the so-called soldier genes.
So his body was recovered after all.
Yes, and his cells have remained frozen in a cryo chamber. His genomic information is a priceless treasure to mankind.
Priceless to the military, perhaps.
His body was burned severely, but it was possible to restore his DNA profile from just a single strand of his hair.
You people are amazing. And then you're gonna transplant those genes into soldiers?
Yes. We'll use a process that I discovered called gene targeting. The strongest soldiers don't become what they are by acquiring their skills through training or experience. We now know that hereditary factors are far more crucial for creating superior soldiers.
Snake, we can't give them his body. It's potentially more dangerous than all the nuclear warheads on that island put together.
I hear the terrorists are calling themselves the Sons of Big Boss.
The Sons of Big Boss?
It's almost as if they're trying to create a revolution. They want the genetic information of the greatest soldier of the 20th century. But what are these next-generation special force units all about?
Tell me about these next-generation special forces.
They started out as an anti-terrorist special ops unit, made up of former members of biochem units, technical escort units, and the nuclear emergency search team. Their purpose was to respond to threats involving next-generation weapons of mass destruction, including NBC weapons.
Until they were added, that is.
Who's they?
These guys didn't start out as regular army.
Looks like a pretty international group. Mercenaries?
Yeah, and it gets worse. Most of them were from a merc agency that I think you're familiar with. They were part of Big Boss's private guard. And after Big Boss went down, The military just bought out all their contracts.
Outer heaven.
After that, they were merged with our own VR unit, Force 21, and retrained. If you ask me, these so-called next-generation special forces should be called simulated soldiers. They have no real battle experience.
Video game players, huh?
Don't forget they've all been strengthened with gene therapy. They carry genes which make them excellent soldiers. Don't get careless just because they don't have much experience.
I thought using genetically modified soldiers was prohibited by international law.
Yes, but those are just declarations, not actual treaties.
The interesting thing is that nearly every member of the unit conspired in this attack.
It is a revolution. Soldiers strengthened through gene therapy, wanting the blueprint of the greatest soldier. But why did they all rebel at once against the United States? There must be a reason that so many of these soldiers turned to terrorism. Let's find out.
How could an entire unit be subverted to rebellion?
They're calling it a revolution.
Since they all went through the same gene therapy, they probably felt closer than brothers. They see the unit as their only family.
The son's a big boss. But if they were regular army, they must have been interviewed periodically by army counselors.
According to their files, they all got straight A's on their psychological tests. They all seemed like fine, upstanding, patriotic soldiers.
But they all took part in the uprising?
No, several people didn't show up on the day of the exercise. That's why there was a resupply of troops.
Was there any sign recently that something might be wrong?
There was a report a month ago that they were acting strangely.
Apparently they consulted classified information about the soldier genes and performed their own gene therapy experiments.
They can do that even without you?
Well, our gene therapy process is almost completely automated. And besides that, they're all geniuses with IQs over 180.
Even the existence of this genome army is a national secret of the highest order. We've been hoping to investigate this thing quietly and deal with it behind closed doors.
So it's about salvaging the reputation of the United States. Not exactly breaking the law, but being on the very line of being illegal. Huh. And these gene therapy soldiers, because of the process being mostly automated, if you have the knowledge, you can conduct it yourself. A lot of biomedical science is automated if you have the know-how and the knowledge how to use it. So, let's learn about Unit Foxhound, Snake's former unit.
High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of. An elite group combining firepower and expertise. They're every bit as good as when I was commanding them.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter.
Looks like a lovely bunch of folks. Too bad we'll be meeting under these circumstances.
And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
Yes. And you're the only person who can stand against him.
Liquid Snake. Another man with the code name of Snake. So we have Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. There appears to be twin snakes. There must be something more to this that they're not telling us. Let's learn about the terrorist leader, Liquid Snake. Let's open the file and find out. This should be interesting. Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake. The man with the same code name as you.
Tell me what you know.
He fought in the Gulf War as a teenager, the youngest person in the SAS. His job was to track down and destroy mobile Scud missile launching platforms. You were there too, I believe. Didn't you infiltrate Western Iraq with a platoon of Green Berets?
I was just a kid myself back then.
The details are classified, but it seems that originally he penetrated the Middle East as a sleeper for the SIS.
He was a spy for the British Secret Intelligence Service?
But he never once showed his face in Century House. He was taken prisoner in Iraq, and after that there was no trace of him for several years. After you retired, he was rescued and became a member of Foxhound.
I thought that by the time I left, they were no longer using code names.
I don't know his real name. That information is so highly classified that even I can't look at it. Here's a photo of him. Pretty shocking, huh? His skin tone is different, but otherwise you two are exact duplicates.
I have a twin?
I don't know the details, but it seems so. That's why we really need you for this mission.
You're the only one who can beat him. Now that I've met you, I know. You've got something that he doesn't. I can see it in your eyes.
Why don't I find that thought more comforting?
Something is deeply wrong here. Solid Snake is only now discovering that he has a twin brother, Liquid Snake, and he is having a terrorist uprising, looking for the remains of Big Boss. There's more to this Shadow Moses incident than simply global domination. Nuclear weapons, hostages. It seems like this revolution that Liquid Snake is leading is about something else altogether. Perhaps we will find out on Shadow Moses Island itself. But now, the final stretch of the briefing. We need to figure out how exactly Solid Snake is going to infiltrate a heavily fortified area, such as Shadow Moses Island. Some of the greatest mercenaries in the world, led by the brother/twin of Solid Snake. It's not going to be easy. Let's figure out the infiltration method, how we're gonna get in.
Tell me about the nuclear weapon disposal facility.
The disposal facility includes a hardened underground base. Even with our most advanced intelligence gathering equipment, we can't tell what's happening inside.
So someone needs to penetrate, gather intelligence, and report back. Sounds like a spy movie. What's the insertion method?
Well, an air insertion is impossible.
Not with this storm going on.
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
Approach?
Yes, within a few miles of it. The facility is equipped with sonar detection capabilities. They'd be able to hear our engine or propeller noise.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
Launch?
Same as a torpedo, only this has no propulsion device of its own. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
You want me to swim in sub-zero Alaskan water?
Don't worry. That suit represents the latest advances in polythermal technology. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
So Snake essentially has to go into the mission naked, even as he is literally naked. A naked snake, if you will. There's a time limit for the terrorist threat.
What's the time limit?
24 hours. They say they'll launch after 24 hours.
Do they say what the target will be?
So far, they haven't mentioned the target.
When did the countdown start?
5 hours ago.
Damn it, we've really got to get moving. So Snake has to swim in sub-zero Alaskan water. This is going to be rough. But if anyone can pull off an operation such as Shadow Moses Island, it's the legendary soldier, Solid Snake. So Solid Snake's going to have to take down his twin brother, Liquid Snake. But we have to uncover what's really going on here. It's more than just nuclear weapons. It's the motivation of the terrorists. But with Nastasha Romanenko, an expert on nuclear weapons. Naomi Hunter, who is giving us all the medical and scientific knowledge we can get, as well as performance enhancement. And our old war buddy, Colonel Roy Campbell. I'm sure Solid Snake can pull this mission off. But now, it's time to begin Metal Gear Solid ASMR. The briefing files section is concluded. Next, we are going to go into VR training, similar to what these so-called genome soldiers, these next-generation special forces, go through. So, you're going to see a practical application of the gameplay and the cinematic style of Metal Gear Solid ASMR. You now have all of the knowledge, the briefing file, the previous operations. Now let's get into the action of the tactical espionage action of Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Please enjoy, my friends. We're going to exit the briefing file and head straight to VR training.
Colonel, I don't work for the government anymore. Let me go back to Twin Lakes.
Why, Snake? Is your life in Alaska all that great?
There's a dog sled race this week. Next Saturday, I have to be in Anchorage.
The Iditarod? The longest sled race in the world? When did you become a dog musher?
Right now, my 50 Huskies are my only family. I've got to take care of them.
Don't worry about your dogs.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, Snake, but this vessel is headed for the Bering Sea. There's no room for debate.
I told you, even if I do owe you, I don't owe anything to this army or this country.
You will accept this assignment.
Why should I be stupid enough to do that? I'm no patriot.
Snake, there's enough dirt in your file from your days as an agent to keep you in the stockade until you're a very old man.
Oh, I see. Blackmail.
No, Snake. I prefer to look at it as helping you come to a decision more easily. But anyway, I know you better than that. You'd take this assignment even without the threat.
Why do you say that?
You're a natural-born soldier. You're not the grow old gracefully type. It's the same for all of us who've seen real action. The only place we can feel truly alive is on the battlefield. I'm a soldier too. I know those feelings of powerlessness, frustration that you feel every day. You've tried to play the Boy Scout out there in Alaska, but you can't race dogs in the snow forever. Why don't you come back to us and be a soldier again?
You think my life is some kind of a joke?
Snake, I just want to give you back your purpose in life.
Seems like there's no choice. Well, time to get the mission started.
I need to borrow your scissors.
What are you going to do?
Don't worry, just gonna clean myself up a little.
Huh?
I don't want to be mistaken for the leader of the terrorists.
Briefing file concluded. It's time to get a practical application of the gameplay of tactical espionage action in Metal Gear Solid ASMR. The game provides VR training, which allows you to practice your skills. I will use this to demonstrate the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid in Stage 1. Head for the goal while avoiding the enemy soldiers. Training ends if you are seen. Stage 1. Allow me to show you. Metal Gear Solid is done with an overhead-style camera that changes cinematically depending on where Snake is placed. We can lean on the wall here. This soldier sees us, it's over. Or we can incapacitate them and clear the stage just like that. Next stage, Stage 2. Use the radar effectively and head for the goal. Enemy soldiers cannot see behind them. They may be next-generation special forces, but they don't have eyes in the back of their head. So, on the top right of the screen is what is known as the Soliton radar. It tells you in real time exactly where enemies are and how far they can see. If you're out of their vision, infiltration is very much possible as we clear Stage 2 and approach Stage 3. Next, take the safest path and head for the goal. Crawl when necessary to get through narrow spaces. This is where the tactics of Metal Gear Solid are going to come into play. Now, look at this path here. The camera shifts, we can see an enemy soldier. But there's no way we're getting past there without them seeing us. So we crawl down and enter narrow spaces. This can be used to get through areas such as ventilation shafts and low areas where enemies can't quite see us, and find alternate paths. Down on the radar, if we go down there, we'd have to incapacitate the enemy to sneak past, or avoid them altogether with this path. Stage 3 cleared.
Impressive, Snake.
Now let's go to Stage 4, showing you all the aspects of Metal Gear Solid's gameplay. Find the best option and route and head for the goal. Some routes are less guarded than the others. Using the radar and the camera, figure out the path that is least patrolled and use it to infiltrate. With practical knowledge and application, Snake can penetrate anything. That's what she said. Anyways, Stage 4 cleared. Now into Stage 5. There are many variations of stealth in this game, which is why it innovated the genre so much. Head for the goal and avoid making loud footsteps in the differently colored tiles. These enemy soldiers are sleeping. Now we can normally just infiltrate past them. Snake's sneaking suit muffles footsteps. It doesn't muffle the noise on the ground. These tiles will make noise if we walk on them, but if we crawl, we will not make any noise. We can get this close to an enemy and not disturb their sleep. Maybe you look like one of those soldiers right now. Now, carefully off the tiles. We slip past and infiltrate successfully, clearing Stage 5.
Impressive, Snake.
Excellent, Snake. Now on to Stage 6. Head for the goal while avoiding surveillance cameras. Directly below each camera is a blind spot. So it's not just enemy soldiers, but surveillance equipment. If you look over here, that yellow icon on the radar is a surveillance camera? Now, directly underneath it is a blind spot, allowing us to slip through undetected. Stage 6 cleared.
Impressive, Snake.
You can already see the many different aspects of Snake's infiltration. Head for the goal while staying out of the enemy soldier's field of vision. Crouch to hide behind low walls. A game's concept being built around not getting into enemy encounters. At the time this was created, sounded like it was the opposite of fun. How can it be fun not getting into a fight? Well, actually, it makes things rather dynamic and entertaining. It's the element of fear, almost like a horror game. I don't want to get caught, because I know the odds are stacked against me. Little do they know as we clear Stage 7, the odds are stacked against the enemies, as Solid Snake continues to infiltrate. Another aspect of gameplay is Stage 8. Be careful about leaving footprints and head for the goal. Even though people can mock the gameplay in modern times, when Metal Gear Solid was first released, enemy soldiers being able to see and notice things, such as this. Your footprints in the snow. Enemies are clever enough to notice things aren't quite correct. Stage 8 cleared. We have to watch out for cameras, weather conditions, and vantage points. Stage 9, knock on the walls and head for the goal. Enemy soldiers are sensitive to sound. Use sound to lure them from their patrol. So not only can the enemy soldiers see when things are wrong, they can hear too. Leaning against the wall, we can knock it, causing a distraction, taking them off their patrol. Just make sure you have somewhere to hide. If you knock once, they walk over. You knock twice, they run. Stage 9 cleared.
Impressive, Snake.
Impressive, Snake, indeed. Now for Stage 10. Head for the goal while using all of the skills you've just learned. Watch out for the searchlight. This Stage 10 is an excellent application. There are multiple ways to get across to the very end of this VR training stage. We can cut across past the searchlights, or we can crawl over to this spot, which is slower, but more surefire way. A more surefire way of reaching the goal. When you're in a narrow space, the radar doesn't work, so you have to rely purely on your vision. There's a way to the left there, but we know there's an enemy sat right outside of it. Now, this is great because it allows you to select the best COA, course of action. Metal Gear Solid is all about avoiding enemy encounters, and VR training is a great way to get started. Searchlights, soldiers, cameras. We have to use every single aspect of the environment if we hope to complete our mission in Shadow Moses. Just like that.
Impressive.
VR training mode. Stage 10 cleared. Now we also unlock a time attack mode, if we so desire. There is another game known as Metal Gear Solid, Special/VR Missions. Maybe we'll explore it one day. But now, for the main event. Welcome, my friends, to Metal Gear Solid ASMR, the legendary tactical espionage action game. It's time to finally, after 40 plus minutes, to begin this adventure. It's kind of appropriate. Metal Gear Solid is a cinematic gaming experience, so there's lots of stretches of cinematics and narration with no gameplay. But trust me, the story, the tactics, the espionage, the action, it all combines together to make Metal Gear Solid a one-of-a-kind, truly legendary experience. Now let's select our game difficulty. We have easy mode, normal, hard, and extreme, which is unlocked upon completing the game. Let's give you the average experience, and go for normal mode. There's only a few differences between the difficulty modes, but most noticeably on extreme. Let us begin Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Please enjoy, my friends. Let's go.
To swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Kept you waiting, huh? Let's begin. Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Let's start off with the controls. As demonstrated in VR training, it's an overhead view. We can go under the water here. There is an O2 gauge. While we are unable to breathe, this will deplete until Snake's life depletes also. We found an item known as a ration. This can be used to restore our life gauge when it runs low. And also we have cigarettes, Solid Snake's favorite brand that he smuggled in, although his support crew is not exactly going to be thrilled about hearing that noise. What a thrill. We also have binoculars, the only equipment we really have besides the cigarettes. We use the combination of third person and first person to see the environment and avoid enemy patrols. We lean against this wall here, an enemy soldier and a rat on the ground. Even noises such as puddles of water can make noise that will alert the enemy Next Generation Special Forces to our location. Using the radar, we can essentially see exactly where the enemy is, but don't get spotted. Solid Snake might as well be called Naked Snake, as he has no equipment besides a few ciggies and binoculars. We also have our support crew, who are calling on the codec right now.
Snake, there's an elevator there you can take up to the ground. You'll just have to wait for the elevator to come down. You better hide somewhere.
Hiding in stealth is Solid Snake's specialty. We now have discovered 2 rations. We can see one off there in the distance. I'll show you even better. So we have a spot here, next to this forklift. We need to wait for the elevator to come down, to kill some time. Using the binoculars we can see an enemy in the distance, as well as a ration that's hidden behind there. This element of exploration is what makes Metal Gear Solid so unique, dynamic, and fun. The idea of avoiding enemies altogether, and the threat that the enemies outnumber you and have greater equipment. Now, we have successfully managed to infiltrate so far without an enemy finding us, but we always need to be cautious. As we can see on the radar, there is an enemy on the left. We found a good hiding spot though, but if they get close, we will move accordingly. Enemy there. They're turning around. The elevator's coming down. The noise is the perfect cover. There's going to be a third enemy soldier coming down. We are very close to detection. Once we see an opening, we'll take it. Wait for this soldier to move. They'll just assume it was another one of them that went up the elevator. The VR training has served us well. Let's infiltrate Shadow Moses Island. It's time for the snake to shed his skin. Prepare for tactical espionage action. Welcome to Metal Gear Solid ASMR.
Please enjoy, my friends, as this adventure continues.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
Thanks to the VR training I did on board the Discovery.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
Take it easy, I'm grateful. If it weren't for your suit and your shot, I would have turned into a popsicle out there.
An anti-freezing peptide, Snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
Behind D. Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
I have no idea, but it looks like our little diversion got their attention. Now's your best chance to slip in unnoticed.
Liquid Snake setting off in a Hind D in the middle of a storm to take down 2 F-16s. He's not messing around.
There are only 18 hours left until their deadline. You've got to hurry.
Wow, you must be crazy to fly a Hind in this kind of weather.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry. I haven't introduced you to yet. This is Ling. She was assigned to us as our visual and data processing specialist. She designed your codec, as well as your Soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
You're just flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
Snake?
Come on. I can't believe I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake. But I'm surprised. You're very frank for a trained killer.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to learning about the man behind the legend. But first, let me explain about your Soliton radar system. The bright dot in the middle is you, Snake. The red dots are your enemies, and the blue cone shape represents their field of vision. Be careful, Snake. The genome soldiers have highly developed senses of hearing and vision due to their gene therapy. Make sure you don't let them see you.
First, I want you to infiltrate the disposal site and look for the DARPA chief.
The DARPA chief was injected with the same GPS-transmitting nanomachines as you. He should appear on your radar as a green dot.
Get whatever information you can from him about the terrorists. If he's alive, that is.
Snake, your radar isn't affected by the weather, but if you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it.
Yes, it gets jammed easily, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's all made from currently existing technology. You won't be able to use it in an area with strong harmonic resonance, so be careful.
We'll be monitoring your movements by radar, so contact us by codec anytime you want.
Got it. I'll call if I'm feeling lonely.
Seriously, Snake, we're here to back you up, so call if you need some information or advice. I'm also in charge of your mission data. Contact me if you want me to record your current status. My frequency is 140.96. It's a dedicated frequency for saving data. Don't forget it.
Remember, Except for your binoculars, you're naked. You need to arm yourself with whatever weapons you can find.
I remember. First I'm strip searched by Dr. Naomi here, and then all my weapons are taken away. Imagine yourself put in that position.
Well, if you make it back in one piece, maybe I'll let you do a strip search on me.
I'll hold you to that, Doctor. By the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.
If you want to get in, there's the front door. It's the fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
I can't just knock on the door and ask them to let me in. There's one sentry on the left and one on the right. They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
What about the air duct near the door? There should also be a duct on the second floor.
I can't see it from here.
I'll let you decide the best COA. I'm counting on you, Snake.
All right. We need to decide for ourselves what's the best course of action. COA. Let's call Mei Ling and save our data.
What is it, Snake?
Save our game. Let's be cautious. Heliport. Save complete.
Snake, remember what the Gaulle said. The graveyards are full of indispensable men. Snake, you're all alone and surrounded by bad guys. Try to be careful and avoid getting into a fight whenever you can.
You're right. Wow, you know all sorts of great quotes, don't you?
Well, both my parents are from Guangdong, China. But I was born and raised in America. I've always liked reading literature from both sides. Kinda keeps me in touch. I'll share some more quotes with you if you like.
I'm looking forward to it. But to tell you the truth, I'd like to learn more about you.
Well, I'll think about it.
GG, Mei Ling. So now, we know our support crew, Roy Campbell, Dr. Naomi Hunter, and now Mei Ling, who Snake was shamelessly flirting with. He's quite frank for a trained killer. So, let's decide the best COA. Using our binoculars, we can see a surveillance camera, an enemy soldier armed with a 5.56 rifle. And in case people were wondering, no, they are not literally armed with pineapples. That's terminology used for fragmentation grenades. So we don't want to mess with these guys directly. If we can avoid confrontation, that is the choice we want to make. That guy looks tired. Maybe you are too. Now, there's a path on the lower side of the heliport and one on the higher side. Using the Soliton radar,
Whose footprints are these?
we can evade enemies, but they can see our footprints in the snow, exactly like the simulations. And just like the VR missions, you can see that they're searchlights, but we evaded them. Metal Gear Solid's attention to detail is what makes it so legendary. The game acknowledges the fact that we actually did the VR training. You don't get that line of dialogue if you skip it. And also, it acknowledges if you take a short or long amount of time to reach the heliport.
A surveillance camera?
The game warning you. Even though it's a camera, it can still alert enemies to your location. But we found this item in the middle of the heliport. A chaff grenade, which disables electronics temporarily. It doesn't make any noise that can be heard by the enemies. With this, the camera is all scrambled and confused. So we found a new item, a stun grenade. Disables all enemies. It's the exact opposite of the chaff grenade. It disables our own electronics as well. But look, our Soliton radar comes right back. Let's phone the Colonel.
Good. You've got yourself a weapon. To use it, first hold down the R2 button to enter weapon mode. Then select the weapon you want with the directional button. After you've selected the weapon you want, let go of the R2 button to exit weapon mode. The weapon you selected should appear in your hand. To use the weapon, follow the directions displayed in the window. If you use the R1 button, you can equip your weapon more quickly. While you're barehanded, press the R1 button to equip the last weapon you used. Press the R1 button while you're holding a weapon to be barehanded again. Don't fire your gun needlessly, or you might be discovered. If you had a gun with a suppressor, it would be a different story. If you have any questions about weapons or equipment, you should ask our military analyst, Nastasha. Her frequency is 141.52.
Nastasha Romanenko. Let's call her in the codec, 141.52. Let's say hello to our military analyst.
This is Nastasha Romanenko. A pleasure to work with you, Solid Snake.
You're the nuclear specialist that the Colonel mentioned?
That's me. You can ask me anything about nukes that you want. I am also a military analyst, so I have an extensive knowledge of weapon systems as well. They asked me to participate in this operation as a supervisor from the Nuclear Emergency Search Team. I was happy to accept. We must not allow terrorists to get their hands on nuclear weapons of any kind. I hope I can help you to stop them.
You're a tough lady.
Those terrorists are serious about launching a nuclear weapon? The world cannot stand by idly and allow that to happen, and neither can I. Unfortunately, all I can do from here is provide you with information.
Hopefully that'll be enough. Another soldier here wouldn't make a difference anyway. It's good to work with you, Nastasha.
Same here, Snake.
So we have an expert on the radar, science, and a military analyst, as well as the Colonel. So, anytime we grab equipment, we can learn about how it functions, thanks to Nastasha Romanenko. Inside this truck is a SOCOM pistol, our first true weapon, a semi-automatic pistol. Let's call Nastasha and figure out how this thing works.
Хорошо. Good. You found a SOCOM. That's a Special Operations Command pistol. It's a 45 caliber pistol with plenty of stopping power. It's also equipped with a LAM for nighttime combat. If you hold down the weapon button, you can train the laser sight on the enemy to help you aim. If you find a SOCOM suppressor, you can equip that too. That pistol was designed specifically for use by special forces, so I think it will be useful. Some people find it a little heavy and hard to use, but it shouldn't be a problem for you.
Solid Snake's reputation precedes him. The SOCOM will be the perfect pistol that we need to infiltrate Shadow Moses Island, but not in its current state. While it can certainly dispatch of enemy soldiers, it does not have a suppressor. A suppressor, alternatively known as a silencer, something that dampens the sound of the firearm. So for now, we're not going to use the SOCOM pistol. Until we can get a suppressor, that is. Unless the enemy forces us into a situation we're forced to use it. Now, a soldier is drawing very close. Let's try and go for the high ground. This enemy's very close, but we're not making any noise. Come on, move away. Just let the enemy pass. Best self-defense. Don't be there. If we fire a gun here, it'll alert the entire compound. We'll use the camera angles and the Soliton radar to our advantage.
That base must have some kind of ventilation system to recirculate the air. There should be air ducts around there somewhere. They must need a lot of power to run the base. There's probably a diesel generator somewhere. And since generating electricity requires oxygen, there must be exhaust openings for that too. You're not gonna believe this, but they shot down the F-16s we were using as a diversion with a Hind D. Then we got a message from Liquid. He said if we try something like that again, he'll launch the nuke. Snake, hurry up and get in there. That Hind will be coming back soon.
Liquid Snake took down 2 F-16s with a Hind attack helicopter? He really must be related to Solid Snake. That's a legendary feat in itself. Now let's go through the ventilation duct and get inside the compound. Locked into a first-person view.
Snake, this is McDonald Miller. It's been a long time.
Master, what are you doing here?
I quit being a drill instructor, so I moved out here for some peace and quiet. I'm in retirement, just like you. Once in a while, I still help train the Alaskan Scouts.
Passing on the skills to a new generation, huh?
Campbell told me about the situation here. I thought I might be of some use.
There's no one I'd rather have in a foxhole than you.
Well, I know lots about survival in a harsh environment. I've lived in Alaska longer than you, so call me if you have any questions about the flora or fauna out here. My frequency is 141.80.
Solid Snake's master, appropriately named Master Miller. A viewpoint. People who have played and witnessed the previous operations section of this video will recognize Master Miller as Snake's master from Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Master Miller is definitely someone you want to be in a foxhole with. He will give us great advice. Let's spy on the enemy.
I moved the DARPA chief to the cell in the first floor basement.
What about the vent shaft cleaning?
They just opened the vent covers. They're about to start spraying for rats.
First floor basement ventilation shaft.
Shut those covers as soon as they're done spraying. Also, keep your eye on that woman in the cell. Don't get careless now.
Woman in the cell?
Woman in the cell. Could that potentially be Meryl, the Colonel's niece? We know that the Colonel's niece was taken hostage by the Next Generation Special Forces. Once again, Metal Gear Solid's attention to detail. There is further dialogue that would have taken place had we been spotted previously in the playthrough, but we never got it, because no one even knows we're here yet. Except Liquid Snake, who seems to have a sixth sense and knows that we are coming. But we have Colonel Roy Campbell, we have Mei Ling, we have Dr. Naomi Hunter, Nastasha Romanenko, and now we have our old war buddy, Master Miller. We have all the information we could need. Now we need to get inside here and see what we can take to make our mission easier. Using the scope, we can see there's a room in here with an item. We don't know exactly what it is, but if we find the opportunity, let's take it. We have a SOCOM pistol, stun grenades that can be used to incapacitate foes, and a chaff grenade which can scramble electronics. We can't carry a lot of ammunition.
Press the action button to drop down.
Simple advice. There is a ration hidden here as well. So the game has already given us 2 options to infiltrate this area. I have chosen this path, as it's easier to infiltrate. Through the ventilation shafts, which have been left open to spray for rats. Alright, we're in.
Use the elevator to change floors. There should be a cargo elevator that you can take down somewhere around there. Try to find it.
Alright, looking for a cargo elevator. Of course, the entire time we need to make sure we're not going to get spotted. Using the first-person view, we can get a clear view of what this radar can't quite see. One thing that we must make sure cannot see us is this surveillance camera. Thanks to the VR training, we know it's a blind spot underneath. A locked door with the number 2 on it. Another area here with a camera. Let's use the chaff grenade. Contrary to what you're listening to, it's quiet.
That's a chaff grenade. It's a special grenade that disperses thin, narrow metallic strips of various lengths and frequency responses. It can confuse electronic equipment. It will be useful against machines which depend upon electronic sensors. Naturally, for it to be effective, you must use it before you are attacked. If you are expecting an attack, spread the chaff beforehand.
This is where Nastasha is very useful. Besides her knowledge of nuclear weapons, she knows about high-tech equipment. So every now and then when I equip a new item, I'm gonna call Nastasha, just so people who aren't quite aware of what these things are gets a great explanation from the very talented Nastasha Romanenko. Case in point, if I equip this item we obtained here, thermal goggles. If I call Nastasha, she can tell me exactly what this thing does. There's a visual representation, highlights heat sources.
Thermal goggles work by thermal imaging instead of by amplifying light like the night vision goggles. They'll work just as well in complete darkness. Not only that, they can also penetrate optic stealth systems. You will be able to spot claymores too, but they will tire your eyes out, so do not use them too much.
There we go. It can identify thermal sources of heat. We have to be cautious though of the ground. You know why? Master will tell us.
Snake, that floor is designed so that your footsteps echo. Listen, Snake, there's a way to walk so your footsteps won't be heard. I call it stalking. Here's how you do it. First, put your weight on the opposite foot that you're going to step with. Then, take a step so that your heel makes contact with the ground first. Then, as you slowly lower the tip of your foot to the floor, gradually shift your weight onto that foot. Use your knees to maintain the subtle balance. Try it.
I can't do it.
Another way is to wear your socks over your shoes. If you crawl on your stomach, you won't make any noise either.
That is a brilliant example of the game leaning on the fourth wall. There is no stalk function in the game, so Snake literally is incapable of stalking in this game. He can move around more quietly in the sequels, but as for this game, they just broke the fourth wall into a million pieces and just had Snake say, "Nah, I can't do that. See this simple thing? Move quietly so that the footsteps won't echo? Yeah, I can't do it. Sorry." It's a great little bit of humor they add in. They're willing to every now and then just acknowledge the fourth wall and go, "Yeah, this is why you can't do this." Enemies nearby. Since they're not out in the snow, they have different uniforms on, dressed in green, more militaristic. Right, we got into the elevator undetected. Next, let's go to B1. See what's on elevator B1. A green dot? That must be the DARPA chief. Kodak.
Look at the radar. It's picking up the DARPA chief. He's the green dot. Hurry and rescue him.
The nanomachine's giving away his location. There he is. Another example of the cinematic camera usage. It's a thick wall. You can't hear us. There's another dot on the radar. There must be a cell to the right of the DARPA chief, who is our first objective. We need to rescue the DARPA chief ASAP. He knows one of the nuclear detonation codes. A great detail, though, that the camera can shift so dynamically. A locked door. There must be another way inside. Another ventilation shaft. Excellent. Alright, we're drawing closer to the DARPA chief. Our first mission objective. The first of the hostages. Huh?
Oh,
cold? I hate Alaska. Boy, oh boy, that woman is built all right.
The jail guard, sitting gloriously on the toilet. Who knows? Maybe that guy, of all people, could be very relevant to the plot of Metal Gear Solid. You never know. Metal Gear Solid's plot gets unhinged. Alright. You see here, there's a single prison guard, so we've managed to just avoid him. Who was that second dot on the radar, though? There was the DARPA chief, but there was someone else. Didn't the guard say something about a woman in the floor of the second floor basement? No, that was the... Wait a minute. There's a woman in one of the cells? Could that be... I think it is.
Is that a woman? Not...
I wonder. The details match up. The woman's built all right. She's doing ab exercises right now. But she's not the objective. That could be the Colonel's niece. This must be the DARPA chief's cell.
Who's that?
I'm here to save you. You're the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, right?
You here to save me, huh? What's your outfit?
I'm the pawn they sent here to save your worthless butt.
Really? It's true. You don't look like one of them. In that case, hurry up and get me out of here.
Slow down. Don't worry. First, I want some information about the terrorists.
The terrorists?
Do they really have the ability to launch a nuke?
What are you talking about?
The terrorists are threatening the White House. They say if they don't accede to their demands, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
Sweet Jesus.
Is it possible?
It's possible. They could launch a nuke.
How do they plan to launch? I thought this place was just for keeping the dismantled warheads. They shouldn't have access to a missile.
What I'm about to tell you is classified information. Okay? We were conducting exercises with a new type of experimental weapon. A weapon that will change the world.
What?
A weapon with the ability to launch a nuclear attack from any place on the face of the Earth. A nuclear-equipped walking battle tank.
Metal Gear. It can't be.
You knew? Metal Gear is one of the most secret black projects. How did you know that?
We've had a couple of run-ins in the past. So that's the reason you were here at this disposal site?
Why else would I come to a godforsaken place like this?
I had heard the Metal Gear project was scrapped.
On the contrary, it's grown into a huge joint project between Arms Tech and ourselves. We were going to use this exercise as raw data, and then proceed to mass production. If it hadn't been for the revolution...
Revolution?
Rex has fallen into the hands of terrorists.
Rex?
Metal Gear Rex. The code name for the new Metal Gear prototype. They're probably already finished arming the warhead they plan to use with Rex. These guys are pros. They're all experienced in handling and equipping weapons.
Hey! Shut up in there, will ya?
But I thought that all nuclear warheads were equipped with safety measures. Some kind of detonation code that you have to input.
Oh, you mean PAL? Yes, of course, there is a PAL.
It's set up so that you need to input 2 different passwords in order to launch the device.
There are 2 passwords?
Yes. Baker knows one, and I know one.
Baker? The president of Arms Tech?
That's right. Each of us needs to input our password, or there can be no launch. But they found out my password.
You talked?
Psycho Mantis can read people's minds. You can't resist.
Psycho Mantis?
One of the members of Foxhound. He has psychic powers.
This is bad.
It's just a matter of time before they get Baker's too.
If they find out Baker's password...
Yes, they'll be able to launch a nuke anytime. But there is a way to stop the launch.
What?
The card keys.
Card keys?
They were designed by Arms Tech, the system developers, as an emergency override. Even without the passwords, you can just insert the card keys and engage the safety lock.
And if I do that?
Yes. You can stop the launch.
That card key.
So where are the keys?
Baker should have them. Listen, you need 3 card keys. There are 3 different slots to put them in. You need to insert a card into each one of them.
Okay, 3 card keys. Do you know where they might be keeping Baker?
Somewhere in the 2nd floor basement.
2nd floor basement?
I heard the guards say they moved him to an area that has a lot of electronic jamming.
Any other clues?
Yes. They cemented over the entrances, but didn't have enough time to paint them. Why don't you look for the areas where the walls are a different color? Here, take this. It's my ID card. It'll open any level 1 security door. It's called a PAN card. It works together with your body's own electrical field.
Personal area network, huh?
It transmits data using the salts in your body as the transmission medium. As you approach the door's security devices, they'll read the data stored in the card.
And the doors will open automatically. Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna get you out of here.
Wait a minute.
What is it?
You haven't heard any other way to disarm the PAL, have you? From your bosses or anyone?
No.
Are you sure you haven't heard anything?
I just said no.
So does the White House plan to give in to the terrorists' demands?
That's their problem. It has nothing to do with my orders.
But what about the Pentagon?
Pentagon? What is it?
What's that? Hey, what happened?
Dead.
Naomi, the chief. What happened?
I don't know. It looked like a heart attack, but...
A heart attack? No.
Colonel, are you hiding something from me?
Absolutely not. Snake, you've got to understand. This op is security level red. You need the highest security clearance to get access to the complete file.
You want me to believe that you're in charge of this op, but you don't have complete access to the file?
I told you, the Secretary of Defense is in operational control. I'm just here as your support. Snake, we don't have time to debate. Get out of there and find President Baker.
A heart attack? What the? The woman in the cell who was eavesdropping. Something's not right here. You can see on the radar. I don't think that's the prison guard. We have no choice. They're waiting for us.
Don't move! So you killed the chief, you bastard! Liquid? No, you're not. Don't move!
Is this the first time you ever pointed a gun at a person? Your hands are shaking. Can you shoot me, rookie?
Careful, I'm no rookie.
Liar. That nervous glance, that scared look in your eyes. They're rookie's eyes if I ever saw them. You've never shot a person, am I right?
You talk too much.
You haven't even taken the safety off, rookie.
I told you I'm no rookie!
You're not one of them, are you?
Open that door. You've got a card, don't you?
Why?
So we can get the hell out of here.
Looks like we'll be a little delayed.
What are you doing? Don't think. Shoot!
Time to engage in action. We have to finally use our SOCOM.
What are you waiting for? Shoot!
Don't talk to me like a rookie.
I'm telling you, shoot!
The woman in the cell is finally firing a farmer's assault rifle. Taking damage. Enemies drop ammunition and rations. Using the laser pointer, we can see exactly where we're aiming. There's an auto-locking system that allows us to aim for the enemies. Using a ration, we restore life. Grab an extra one. Grenades. Take cover. Equipping and unequipping will reload automatically. The alert phase ends.
Thanks for the help.
Wait!
I wonder if that view's important.
Who are you? You fool! You've killed him!
I'm sorry, sir.
His mental shielding was very strong. I could not dive into his mind.
Now we'll never get that detonation code.
Boss, I have a good idea.
Who the hell was that?
Naomi, I just had some kind of hallucination. Is it from the nanomachines?
No, Snake. The nanomachines are functioning properly.
So what was it?
It must have been psychometric interference coming from Psycho Mantis, Foxhound's psychic. Think of it as a mental feedback loop.
So that was Mantis.
We have a lot to unravel. We obtained a level 1 security card from the DARPA chief, who mysteriously died of a heart attack. Before he died, he was asking if there was a way to disarm the PAL.
Snake, Psycho Mantis has the power to read people's minds. He got the DARPA chief's detonation code. Hurry up or he'll get Baker's code too.
That's right. If the terrorists get Baker's code, they'll be able to launch that nuke anytime they want.
Yeah, they'll use Metal Gear to do it. Colonel, did you know they were conducting a military exercise here using Metal Gear?
I didn't know.
Really?
Snake, you've got to understand. I'm just the middleman in this operation. Anyway, hurry up and get to the second floor basement. You've got to save the Arms Tech president before the terrorists find out his code.
Something smells off.
Snake, you've got to think. Your mind is your most dangerous weapon. If things are getting too complicated, try to simplify your thoughts. You can also try calling Campbell for advice.
Campbell seems to be hiding something. Smaller note. For the purposes of viewing this on YouTube, in the normal gameplay, this security guard, this poor guy that was sitting on the toilet, he would have been naked. But for the purposes of recording, we gave him a little bit of his modesty back and given him some shorts. Poor guy. He got his gun and his uniform stolen off of him. I don't want to look down that toilet. Something tells me this guard's got some stomach problems. Now, here's the issue. It's the revelation that Shadow Moses Island has secretly been used to develop a new form of Metal Gear. Metal Gear Rex. We need to find President Baker and discover him before the terrorists get the detonation code from him. But why did the DARPA chief ask if there was a way to disarm the PAL? Besides the card keys, let's save our game.
You code Snake?
Let's save our game. Why would the DARPA chief need to ask for another way to disarm the PAL?
Snake, listen to what Lo Ji said. He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough. Just because you see an item doesn't mean that you always have to get it. If you don't really need it, think twice before you stick your neck out. It might not be worth it.
Mei Ling's quote here is very well timed. Just because there's an item there doesn't necessarily mean you need it. He who has enough will always have enough. Look at this. Does something seem off to you? It's too quiet. Check this out. Why would nobody patrol this area? You notice there's lines in the floor there. Watch what happens if we walk over here. With the thermal goggles we borrowed from the terrorists, there's a red square here. It's a pitfall trap. It's a great psychological trap. The noise is designed to make you go, huh, what was that noise? And then when you stop, that's what seals your fate. If you fall through a pitfall trap, Snake automatically enters a game over. There's a lot of equipment here. C4, which is a plastic explosive. Let's call Nastasha. Learn about C4.
That is C4 explosive. A plastic explosive with a texture similar to clay. So you can shape it in almost any way you want. Although it has 1.4 times the destructive power of dynamite, it is highly stable and won't explode without a detonating device, even if it is shot, burned, or beaten. You are using a wireless detonator, yes? The detonator is equipped with a scrambler, so you don't have to worry about interference from any other radio source. Make sure you are sufficiently far enough away when it goes off. Also, as you know, the sound of the explosive will alert your enemies, so be careful.
Alright, we have an explosive weapon now. We can place this anywhere. Huh. No smoking. What would Solid Snake do in this situation upon reading that? He'd probably light one up, have a cigarette. Ah. Laws are merely suggestions, Alakazam. I don't think your team's gonna like that, Snake.
Are you smoking?
Yeah, so what?
Didn't you know that cigarettes contain benzopyrene, a chemical that leads to lung cancer? We now know that when benzopyrene enters the body, it changes to benzopyrene diol epoxide.
BPDE, and attaches to the receptors on the P53 gene, the gene which causes lung cancer. The BPDE attaches to the P53 gene in 3 specific locations and causes precancerous changes to the lung tissue.
You know a lot about science, but you don't know how good a cigarette tastes in the morning.
Snake, you've got problems.
Nuclear weapons, nuclear reactors, hazardous waste. We are constantly being exposed to plutonium and other radioactive materials. Compared to that, smoking seems not so bad, no?
Nastasha, stop enabling him. Master Miller.
Soldiers that have been forged in the fires of battle are used to catching naps whenever and wherever they can. There's a big difference between real soldiers and those kids who have only been trained in VR simulators. After playing for a long time, you should get some rest too.
Yeah, I think we're gonna draw close to the end of this chapter of Metal Gear Solid ASMR. But first we need to find President Baker. He has the 2nd detonation code. In this storage area there are a lot of locked doors. A level 1 card has only been able to get us some C4 explosive. There's an item called a Nikita here that requires a level 3 key, and a PSG-1 which requires a level 5. A FAMAS which requires a level 2. This area here might have some items. SOCOM ammunition, useful if we run low. What's behind here? Grenades. We can definitely use those. 8 grenades. Could be useful. You never know, as Snake would say. A FAMAS is an assault rifle, and a PSG-1 is a sniper rifle. This is an example of the game showing you to explore.
The walls that were cemented over should look slightly different. Look at the walls carefully in first-person view mode. Try to find the walls that have a different pattern.
Did you try hitting the wall? Maybe it'll sound different too.
Those C4 explosives you've got should be able to destroy the walls that were cemented over.
Alright, time to use our C4 explosive. The reason there's pitfall traps in this area is because there's no enemy sentries guarding it. So whenever things are too quiet, be very cautious. Look at this wall. Listen. Hear the noise. This wall is hollow. Let's blow it open since there's no enemies to hear the explosives. Keep a safe distance. With C4 explosives you can plant this on the ground or the wall. Let's get safely away. This area on the top. There's items hidden here. Stun grenades. And a chaff grenade. Excellent. We need both of these. Let's see what stun grenades do.
Those are stun grenades. They are often used in sensitive operations such as freeing hostages and that sort of thing. Sometimes they are called flash bangs or sound and flash grenades. They make a big flash and lots of noise, which will disorient and disable your opponents temporarily. You have to understand that they won't kill the bad guys, but just stun them for a few seconds. Use them wisely.
If you need to go out loud, use a stun grenade. Need to go in quiet, use a chaff grenade.
They were conducting exercises with this new Metal Gear prototype. Is that what the DARPA chief said?
Yeah.
What the hell?
So you know about Metal Gear?
Just rumors. I heard it is some kind of walking tank that can deliver an accurate nuclear strike from any terrain. Mountains, deserts, swamps, wherever. But you are the real expert on Metal Gear, aren't you, Snake?
Yeah, I guess I am. But what about the PAL system that the DARPA chief mentioned?
It is a device attached to a nuclear weapon system to prevent the missile from being armed or launched. Usually, a secret detonation code or combination is necessary to launch the missile.
According to the chief, there are 2 codes, and the terrorists already know one of them.
The other code? If the terrorists find out that one too.
Yeah, I've got to hurry and rescue President Baker.
Snake is the expert on Metal Gear after all. He took down Metal Gear D and Metal Gear TX-55 in Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. We need to stop the terrorists before they find the second detonation code. To do so, we're going to need more equipment than what we already have. While the area is quiet and only occupied by pitfall traps, I'm going to try and get as much items out of this area as possible. There are 2 walls on the north side here, but be careful. Why is this unguarded? Tell me, why would this be out in the open? Because there's pitfall traps here too. Just because you see an item doesn't mean you necessarily need to get it. Ling was right. So long as you don't stand still on the pitfall, you'll be fine. You can run right over it. But it's the psychological aspect. You hear a noise, you immediately stop and go, what was that noise? It's not gonna get Solid Snake though. Right. There must be another wall around here that can be destroyed, as this door has a level 4 key requirement. We've been in here. We need to find President Baker. Just a single nuclear weapon could spell global annihilation due to the escalation of the war that would ensue. This must be where Kenneth Baker is being held. But what has Metal Gear got to do with all of this? We foiled Metal Gear twice in Snake's past adventures. So what makes Metal Gear Rex so different? Something's not right. An area with a lot of electronic jamming. President Baker's definitely in this area.
President Baker should be somewhere around there. Hurry up and find him. Also, you can't use your radar there. Ling says it's because of electronic jamming. If you want to know more, ask her.
People's reaction speed is slowest around 3 o'clock in the morning. And so is their judgment. If you're feeling drowsy, you should get some sleep.
I think that's Master trying to tell us to rest up soon.
Snake, you can't use your radar in that area. There's some kind of electronic jamming coming from there. I wonder what it is. Anyway, be careful.
Let's save our game. Once we find the President of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker, we'll draw close in this chapter of Metal Gear Solid ASMR.
Be careful, Snake.
We will, Ling. GG. A cemented wall. I don't know. The DARPA chief's mysterious death. Could it simply be a heart attack? When you combine that with the fact the Colonel seems to know more than what he's letting on, I don't know. We've already been blackmailed into this operation. Things might not be quite what they seem. But let's find the President of Arms Tech first. He might be in here.
Am I too late? He's alive. You're the Arms Tech President, Kenneth Baker, right? Don't worry. I'm here to save you.
No, don't touch it!
C4.
Right. Touch that wire, and the C4 will blow up along with the old man. So you're the one that the boss keeps talking about.
And you?
Special Operations Foxhound. Revolver Ocelot. I've been waiting for you, Solid Snake. Now we'll see if the man can live up to the legend. This is the greatest handgun ever made. The Colt's Single Action Army. 6 bullets, more than enough to kill anything that moves. Now I'll show you why they call me Revolver. Draw! Draw! Hiding won't help you. I understand the bullets you see. I make them go where I want.
Our first boss battle. Revolver Ocelot, a special task force unit Foxhound. Specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. Evading us through cover. Damn it!
I love to reload during a battle. There's nothing like the feeling of slamming a long silver bullet through a well-used chamber. All right, alive. Let's go.
We need to call our team for help.
If you've got a question about Foxhound, ask Dr. Naomi.
Revolver Ocelot is a former member of Spetsnaz. After the fall of the Soviet Union, he apparently served in the Russian tax police's elite SWAT team. After that, he joined the SVR, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Agency, which was formerly a part of the KGB. But according to my sources, he was dissatisfied with the rigid system at the KGB and wanted to get out. That's when he was recruited by Foxhound. He's a gun fanatic and totally obsessed with cowboy movies and spaghetti westerns. He's also something of a sadist. He learned the most advanced torture techniques while he was with Spetsnaz.
Yeah, he had plenty of practice. Lubyanka prison is located right there inside KGB headquarters. In a gunfight, reloading is usually the most dangerous time, but he loves it. Use that to your advantage. You'll have to take him out when he's reloading. Can you see where his number of remaining bullets is displayed on the screen? Wait for the right moment and then take him out.
He's using a single-action army? The first model of that gun was made in 1873, over 130 years ago. Today, they're still being made in small numbers, but that's just for collectors and such. Nobody uses them in combat anymore. The biggest drawback to revolver-style handguns is reload time. That's your chance.
The muzzle velocity of a bullet fired from a revolver is slower than one fired from an automatic. That's bad for you. The slower a gun's muzzle velocity, the more damage it does. That's because the bullet will tend to lodge in the body instead of going right through. Those kind of wounds take a long time to heal. Sometimes they never do. I think that's part of the reason he likes that gun. He's a real sick puppy, that Ocelot. The biggest drawback to a revolver is the reload time. That's your chance.
It's time for Solid Snake to have a showdown with a Russian cowboy. Ex-KGB. Everyone's saying the same thing. Our support crew is saying the reload time is critical to damaging Revolver Ocelot. We're learning about Ocelot's personality through his choice of weapon. It's not simply about being a cowboy. He loves to inflict pain. He's a sadist.
Don't you want to settle this?
A gun which will not pierce through the body but get lodged inside, causing great pain. Ocelot loves the most dangerous side of combat, the reload, when you're most exposed. Because as he said,
there's nothing like the feeling of slamming a warm silver bullet into a well-greased chamber.
we need to follow him, keep damaging him. When he runs into cover and reload, that's the chance to strike. He can ricochet the bullets. He makes them go where he wants. Use our ration to restore our life gauge. Equipping it will restore it automatically. Chase him down. Snake vs. Ocelot. First boss battle, Metal Gear Solid ASMR. Let's take him down. Need to corner him. He's being smart, using cover and distance. We almost got him. He's only got 3 bullets left. 2. Make it 1. He's on his last bullet. Right, let's go for him. Reloading. This is his favorite time of combat. Ocelot likes to dish out pain. Let's give it back. The ration's saving us there. Ocelot goes down.
You're pretty good. Just what I'd expect from the man with the same code as the boss. It's been a long time since I had such a good fight, but I'm just getting warmed up. What? My hand! Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again! Who are you? I like you. I have no name. That exoskeleton.
Can you talk?
Who are you?
I'm not one of them. The DARPA chief told me he gave them his detonation code. What about yours?
Oh, I get it. Jim sent you. You're from the Pentagon.
Answer my question. What about your code? There's no time.
I talked.
What? Now the terrorists have both codes and can launch any time.
It's not like I didn't fight. I managed to resist Psycho Mantis's mind probe.
He couldn't read you? How'd you do it?
Surgical implants in my brain.
Surgical implants?
Kind of like a psychic insulation. Everyone who knows these top secret codes has it.
Even the DARPA chief?
Of course.
But the DARPA chief said Mantis got his code by reading his mind.
Are you sure you heard him right?
Yeah, I'm sure. In that case, how did they get your code?
I never had any training on how to resist torture.
It looks like he had some fun with you, all right.
Oh, he's not human. I tell you, he loved every second of it.
What happened to your arm?
He broke it.
Looks like you're more than even now. His was sliced off.
Ha, you're a funny man. So the DARPA chief, is he okay?
Dead.
What? Can't be. No, that's not what you promised, Jim. Now you want to shut me up?
Calm down. What's wrong with you? I just told you I was here to save you. I didn't kill the DARPA chief. He had a heart attack or something.
A heart attack? Oh, don't be a fool.
Anyway, the terrorists have both codes now.
Those boys are totally insane. They wouldn't hesitate to launch.
I agree, but what do they really want?
Oh, who knows? Maybe they're like us in the arms industry, always looking forward to the next good war.
Well, I'm not gonna let these maniacs start a war today. You still have the card keys?
Card keys?
To override the detonation code. I heard you had them.
No, not anymore.
What? Who does then? Not the terrorists?
No, that woman.
Woman? Who?
A soldier that was thrown in prison along with me.
A female soldier? It must be.
She said she had just joined up as a new recruit. They threw her in prison because she refused to take part in the rebellion.
A new recruit? Could that be the Colonel's niece?
I gave her the key. Looks like she managed to break out of here, though. I hope she's okay.
I'm sure she is. She's green, but as tough as they come. But how did you know she escaped?
I was in contact with her by codec. Until I was tied up here, that is.
Codec?
Yes, she stole it from the guard. If she still has it, you should be able to contact her.
I'm sure she still has it. What frequency was she at?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, it's... Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Damn!
Oh, that's right. It should be on the back of the CD case. Try to contact her.
I'll contact her right away. But tell me, if this doesn't work, is there some other way to prevent the missile launch?
You need to find Hal Emmerich, one of my employees.
Who's that?
The team leader of the Metal Gear Rex project. A genius at engineering, but a little bit of an oddball. If there's anyone who can figure out how to stop Metal Gear from launching, it's him.
What if he can't come up with anything?
You'll have to destroy it. Emmerich knows how to destroy Metal Gear.
Where is this Emmerich?
Well, he's probably being held somewhere in the nuclear warhead storage building. It's north from here. That's where he worked.
I understand, but why Metal Gear? The nuclear age ended with the turn of the millennium.
Oh, you're wrong. The threat of nuclear war isn't gone. In fact, it's greater than it's ever been. The amount of spent nuclear fuel and plutonium is increasing even today. Listen, have you ever seen a warehouse full of nuclear material?
No.
Drums and drums of nuclear waste stacked this high, as far as you can see. Because there's still no real way to dispose of the stuff.
So they just close the lid and try to pretend like it'll go away?
Essentially, yes. And they're not even doing a good job of storing it. Many of the drums are corroded, with nuclear waste seeping out of them.
Unbelievable.
Not only that, but several pounds of MUF are reported every year.
MUF?
It stands for material unaccounted for. It proves that there's a large and well-organized black market in nuclear materials. Furthermore, since the end of the Cold War, Russian nuclear engineers in particular are out of work with no way to turn. In other words, there's plenty of available nuclear material and scientists for making a bomb. We live in an age when any small country can have a nuclear weapons program.
What about the other superpowers?
Russia and China still maintain a significant nuclear presence. Complete nuclear disarmament is an impossibility. To maintain our own policy of deterrence, we need a weapon of overwhelming power.
You mean Metal Gear?
Yes. You know our industry suffered quite a blow as a result of the cuts in military budgets due to this so-called peace.
I remember hearing a lot about mergers and takeovers among the big weapons makers.
Yes, and after my company lost their bid to produce the Air Force's next line of fighter jet, the Metal Gear system was our last ace in the hole. That's why we pushed to have Metal Gear developed as a black project.
Black project?
Secret projects paid for by the Pentagon's black budget. You can avoid a lot of red tape and get a great lead time on your weapons production. And no one can bother you. Not even those bleeding heart liberals on the Military Oversight Committee.
Bribes.
I prefer to think of it as good business. Anyway, Metal Gear was going to be formally adopted after the results of this exercise were analyzed.
I don't give a crap about you and your company.
Yes, that's about what I'd expect from a grunt like you. Here, this is what you came for, right?
What's that?
An optical disc. It's all here. The main hard drive was destroyed by gunfire. This is the only remaining copy of the data.
What kind of data?
All the data collected from this exercise. Don't play dumb. I know you were sent to get this. I hid it from that sadistic maniac while he was torturing me. They don't know this disc exists. Make sure you report this to Jim. To your boss. I'll give you my card too. It'll open up all security level 2 doors.
Can you walk?
No. No, you go on without me. They got my password. They don't want anything else from me.
I have one more question. Who or what was that ninja thing? It looked like you knew something.
That ninja? That was Foxhound's dark little secret.
Dark little secret?
An experimental genome soldier.
You know him?
You should ask Dr. Naomi Hunter from Foxhound. She knows better than I.
Naomi?
You've got to stop them. If it goes public, my company and I are finished.
What? Doesn't Metal Gear use currently existing technology?
Metal Gear itself does, but... What did you do to me? Oh, no. Oh, no, it can't be. Those Pentagon bastards. So, they actually went and did it.
What are you talking about?
They're just using you for...
What the hell?
Colonel, are you listening? Now he's dead too.
I have no idea.
Don't lie to me.
It looked like another heart attack, but...
Some kind of poison?
Well, there are lots of drugs that can cause a heart attack in large doses. For example, potassium chloride or dioxides, but we won't be able to tell without doing an autopsy.
Damn!
Snake, I want you and Meryl to work together.
Can I trust her?
More than you can trust me. Get in contact with her.
Snake, there's a lot of electrical interference coming from there. It should be okay if you do burst transmission like us, but normal transmission is probably impossible. Try moving away from that area.
Snake, get a hold of yourself.
Naomi, what the hell was that ninja thing? A member of Foxhound?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, we have no one like that in our unit.
Is that right?
Snake, I'm counting on you.